finance ministers meeting in Brussels. Pistorius also said that Germany intends to lead a European Union air defense shield and will boost its role in air policing. A ministry spokesperson added that Germany will deploy 2 Eurofighter jets to Polish Malbork from December through March, strengthening regional security amid rising tensions in Europe. Now shifting our focus from some news updates to the United States, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has pledged to release key evidence provided to prosecutors after the collapse of a major case involving alleged Chinese spying. The Crown Prosecutor's Service dropped charges against 2 men last month, citing a track of crucial evidence confirming China as a national security threat. Evidence it was said to be provided by the government. Now, Starmer also blamed the previous Conservative administration under which the charges were brought. And he also denied the political interference in this case. He announced that full witness statements from the Deputy National Security Advisor will be published to ensure transparency. The case has reignited political debate over UK's stance and China's national security. Listen in to the comments made by British Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
Last night, the Crown Prosecution Service clarified that in their view, the decision whether to publish the witness statements of the DSNA is for the government. I have therefore carefully considered this question this morning, and after legal advice, I have decided to publish the witness statements. The Leader of the Opposition was Business Secretary at the time. In September 23, the Leader of the Opposition said, her words, September 23, the relevant year, her words, "We should certainly not be describing China as a foe." It's worth looking up the word foe in the dictionary, Mr. Speaker. She went, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't end there, Mr. Speaker. In September 2024, the Leader of the Opposition said this, I quote, "I have shied away from calling China a threat." She is playing politics with national security.
British Finance Minister Rachel Reeves said on Wednesday that the government is taking targeted action against companies in India and China that continue to facilitate the flow of Russian oil into global markets. Earlier in the day, Britain issued fresh sanctions against Russia's so-called shadow fleet. Let's listen in to what Rachel Reeves had to say.
Today, the UK government are significantly stepping up the pressure on Russia and Vladimir Putin's war effort. We are introducing targeted sanctions against the 2 biggest oil companies in Russia, Lukoil and Rosneft, and at the same time we are ramping up pressure on companies in third countries, including India and China, that continue to facilitate getting Russian oil onto global markets. There is no place for Russian oil on global markets, and we will take whatever actions are necessary to destroy the capability of the Russian government to continue this illegal war in Ukraine.
The US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said on Wednesday that it is unclear if China's recent rare earth export restrictions reflect a split within its trade team. But he does not believe that Beijing wants to be a part of an agent of chaos. Bessent said a Chinese official warned that China could cause global chaos over port shipping fees, but he reiterated that China does not see chaos. The comments follow China's expansion of rare earth export controls and US President Donald Trump's threat to raise tariffs by 100%. Now, Bessent said that US is working to set up a meeting between Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping to keep ties on track. Let's listen in to what the US trade representative had to say.
Last Wednesday evening, China announced a sweeping expansion of its export controls on rare earth elements and rare earth processing equipment, as well as technologies related to batteries, vehicles, industrial diamonds, and superhard materials. To be clear, this is not just about the United States. These actions, if implemented, would apply to the entire world. China's announcement is nothing more than a global supply chain power grab. While China has taken a number of retaliatory trade actions against the United States, Europe, Canada, Australia, and others in recent years, this move is not proportional retaliation. It is an exercise in economic coercion on every country in the world.
Now moving on to Asia, Pakistan and Afghanistan have agreed to a temporary 48-hour ceasefire following deadly border clashes that resulted in the deaths of dozens of troops and civilians on both sides. The Pakistani Foreign Ministry announced on Wednesday that the ceasefire would begin at 6 p.m. local time at the request of the Afghan Taliban regime. The ministry emphasized that the truce and the aims to de-escalate tensions along with border tensions. There was no immediate confirmation from Taliban authorities in Kabul, but an official indicated that the Taliban government has instructed its forces to honor the ceasefire with Pakistan. The ceasefire comes amid renewed fighting in recent days and represents a fragile step towards reducing violence between the two neighboring countries, whose disputed 206,000 kilometers border has been a long flashpoint for conflict between the two. Now to discuss about this, I'm joined by Marisha on this telecast. Thank you for staying with us, Marisha. Now I would like to understand that the two strained relations between Pakistan and Afghanistan is not news, of course, but the recent escalation and now a ceasefire, what does it indicate?
Well, yes, Meher, the recent 48-hour ceasefire between Afghanistan and Pakistan indicates that neither of the nations are prepared for a full-scale war, but they do so little to address the core issues in itself. The truce offers a temporary de-escalation, like you mentioned, for diplomacy, but analysts also suggest that the situation is so fragile that clashes could reignite. Now, we're talking about strained diplomacy. There is a lack of trust, which is highlighted by the conflict on the account of both the ceasefire and also for both the nations individually. Now, both Islamabad and Kabul have claimed that the other side has requested for the ceasefire. In fact, Pakistan's military has also reportedly carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan before the ceasefire was even announced. Now, the return to diplomatic engagements after military action show that neither of the countries' strategies have worked so far. There is immense political pressure that we can see in this situation because the fighting and the clashes give Pakistan's military-backed government a chance to appear strong against a terrorist group. There is also immense amount of regional instability that one can see. While the ceasefire provides a brief pause for the ongoing tensions between both Kabul and Islamabad, border crossing remains closed. Trade is disputed and the humanitarian situation is worsening in both of these nations, with almost 1,000 that have been displaced because of these clashes. Now, like you mentioned, the two countries share a 2,611 kilometer border known as the Durand Line, which Afghanistan has clearly never officially recognized. Disputes over border status have also led to the frequent violations that have caused these clashes in the first place. Now, with all of this, there is mounting global pressure. There is foreign interference that you can see. Afghanistan has recently strengthened ties with India, which Pakistan views as a diplomatic setback. Pakistan has also called for mediation from Qatar and Saudi Arabia during this escalation. We cannot deny the refugee crisis in the midst of all of this. Pakistan has been conducting mass deportations of undocumented Afghans since 2023, and millions of Afghans, including many who have fled from the Taliban, have widely been criticized. Now, with all of this speculation, and there is a lot of eyes globally on Kabul and Islamabad and their clashes, but with that, we're looking at a lot of instability, a lot of clashes, a lot of diplomatic setbacks that both the nations are about to face.
Well, thank you, Marisha, for joining us on this telecast. Now, moving on, Syria's interim president Ahmad al-Shara, during his first ever visit to Moscow, told his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin that he wants to quote-unquote redefine relations between the two countries. This comes almost a year after close Kremlin ally Bashar al-Assad was ousted and fled to Russia. Shara told Putin in the Kremlin that they respect all previous agreements and the great history between the two countries. He added that they are trying to restore and redefine the nature of these relations in a new way. Former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga has died at the age of 80. In Kerala, he suffered a cardiac arrest during his morning walk and had been under treatment for the past 5 days. He was rushed to Deva Matha Hospital where his death was confirmed. Odinga had earlier sought treatment in Mumbai following a stroke, accompanied by his youngest daughter and personal doctor. Odinga served as Kenya's Prime Minister from 2008 to 2013 and was a long-time leader of the opposition. On the sidelines, Kenyan President William Ruto announced a 7-day national mourning and state funeral. Let's listen in to the Kenyan President William Ruto.
In honor of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga's extraordinary contribution to our nation, I have declared a 7-day period of national mourning, during which the national flag shall fly at half-mast across the Republic of Kenya and in all our missions abroad. As a mark of respect, I have postponed all my public engagements for the coming days, and I ask all other public servants and leaders to do the same so that we can join the nation in this period of mourning and deep reflection. Our former Prime Minister, Raila Amolo Odinga, shall be accorded a state funeral with all attendant honors.
Meanwhile, emotional scenes unfolded across the country with hundreds gathering in the Kereba region. Residents described him as a transformative figure. The nation mourns the passing of one of its most influential political figures. Let's in fact listen in to some of them.
This one of the saddest days for us, as we have lost our father, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. To us, he was like a father. He cared about the poor. He advocated for our rights. We are left as orphans. We don't know where to turn to. Nobody cares about us. Baba cared for us.
We have lost a very great leader. We have lost a very great leader of democracy, a person who has nurtured many politically, a person who has brought many to life politically, a person who has made Kenya to develop, to prosper politically in terms of democracy.
We will remember Raila mostly because of the so-called the 2010 constitution. Raila has played a very big role in making sure that we have Constitution of the Republic of Kenya into place. And the only challenge that we have is in as far as the implementation is concerned, but we are yet to see into it that it is being implemented. Then secondly, concerning succession, we're not seeing anybody who would succeed Raila Odinga, because what he did in this republic, not only